So I teased a video about lemonade at the end of the orange juice video. I didn't know what to make it about, but then I realized lemonade stands. Everyone knows about lemonade stands. So why lemonade and not, say, apple juice, or orange juice for that matter? Finding the answer will once again be easier if we understand the origin of lemonade. So let's start at the beginning. Lemons and sugarcane are native to India, which led to the Indians consuming a kind of lemonade known as nimbu pani. I guarantee you I butchered that and I am sorry. I imagine they thought straight lemon juice was pretty bad, which is wrong, but whatever. So they added a bunch of stuff to it, namely water, ginger, sugar, salt, and pepper. Though the page for nimbu pani on Wikipedia leads to the page for shikanji. I probably butchered that one too. I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. Nimbu pani is just a variation on shikanji, but I can't verify that. Information on this stuff is surprisingly sparse. There are plenty of other variations on lemonade as well, as a bunch of regional varieties. Most are slightly less confusing than the nimbu pani shikanji situation with naming, such as chanmuoe, which I also butchered horribly, which is lemons, or more often limes, packed in salt until they are pickled and then used to make a drink called nuak chanmuoe. Again, completely butchered that, but nuak is often dropped from the name. There's also Leonese lemonade, or Holy Week lemonade, which is made from wine, lemons, sugar, and cinnamon. Limonana, or mint lemonade, is just lemonade with mint leaves or mint syrup, usually served over ice, often in a slushy type format. There are also plenty of varieties of the traditional lemonade we all think of, assuming we're from the US. Cloudy lemonade is the most common, just squeeze lemon juice and sugar and some water. Pink lemonade is also pretty common, made from lemonade and additional fruit juices, usually strawberry or cherry. This either came from accidentally dropping a cinnamon candy in lemonade and then mentioning this in some guy's obituary, or using water used to wash red tights. Clear lemonade is the most common in the UK and Australia, often carbonated, also called Sprite or 7-Up. The last common kind of lemonade is brown lemonade, made with brown sugar instead of normal sugar. The earliest written evidence of lemonade was dated to around 1000 AD in Egypt, made with lemons, dates, and honey. Straight lemon juice and sugar was also consumed. These guys know good food when they taste it. It's likely that lemons were initially imported from Asia around 700 AD, and lemon juice and lemonade may have been consumed prior to 1000 AD. Around 600 years later, in Paris, a company known as Compagnie de Lemonadiers, or roughly Company of Lemonaders, super creative name, was given complete monopoly over the lemonade business. Their business practices seem to be the root of the lemonade vendors we know and love today. Employees would walk around the streets and sell lemonade in cups on their backs. Not quite a stand, but definitely close. This wasn't the first commercialization of lemonade, but definitely the biggest at the time. Their popularity was also likely helped due to the lemonade often being supplemented with alcohol. Wikipedia, unfortunately, doesn't have much information on lemonade stands, but it has some that might be beneficial. Most of it is about educational benefits and legality. Let's go through some of that, it's pretty interesting. Educational benefits are cited as a good way to experience business at a young age, however, the lack of expense makes it slightly less realistic. Lemonade stands are in a very odd area legally. They are technically violations of several laws in most areas of the US, where the stands are most popular, but they aren't likely to be prosecuted. When they are, it's usually accompanied by public outcry. In 2018, a branch of Kraft that sells powdered lemonade mix created Legal Aid, a clever play on words, which pays up to $300 of the legal fees for lemonade stands. It lasted through 2018. The legislature took up a bill last year that will allow stands operated by minors to be exempt from most regulations. 14 states have already started allowing lemonade stands outright. What I'm really interested in is when lemonade stands started, and how we got from some random company in France to American children. A game called Lemonade Stand came out in 1973 as an educational title, and was later popularized by Apple in 1979, so lemonade stands have been a thing for quite a long time. They had to have been popular before the 70s, but have started after the late 1600s. A report of a woman opening a lemonade stand in a ladies' fair in October 1839 had surfaced. It is likely the idea of lemonade peddling came from French pilgrims and immigrants, though that is pretty unsubstantiated. Moving closer to what we know today, a student at Cornell University had opened a stand in his student hall in 1873. Many vendors had set up around New York in the 1880s, including peddlers who said they had lemonade, but in fact had dirty buckets full of water, molasses, and vinegar with some lemon rind on top. I think it's called switchel nowadays. Most vendors were adults, but with how simple lemonade is and running a stand is, the bar for entry was low. I don't know the exact age of the boy known as Edward Bach, but I do know he was a Dutch immigrant who didn't quite like the taste of the vinegar water he was served upon entry to America. He also noticed that there were horse carriages that stopped near his house on its way to Coney Island so the horses could get a drink, and the men would go into a nearby cigar shop to get a drink. He found it odd that only men would go in, and the women and children had to wait until they reached their destination to get a drink. He decided to sell ice water on the carriages while they were stopped, 1 cent a glass. He would make 30 cents for every pail he emptied, and did really good on the weekends. Soon, however, businessmen caught on, and he had competition. He added lemon juice and sugar and tripled his price. He, of course, wasn't the only lemonade vendor, but he seemed to be the first kid, and definitely was one of the most influential. A biography was written about him and published in 1921, The Americanization of Edward Bach, and his story was popularized. He had gone on to become a journalist and a secretary at the electricians department of the Western Union Telegraph Company, but his childhood business of lemonade is what really struck a chord with most people. So the young entrepreneurship of a Dutch immigrant named Edward Bach seems to be what popularized lemonade stands in the US, as well as the publishing of his biography. It wasn't all rainbows for lemonade stands though. In July of 1941, a young woman, not pictured, opened a lemonade stand in Western Springs, Illinois. She was selling to friends and strangers alike, even sampling her own supply. All well and good, until a couple weeks later when the health department was knocking on her door. Apparently, she hadn't washed the glasses between customers and had given 5 children, including herself, polio. It was a good opportunity to study the disease and its effects, but it's definitely not an ideal situation by any means. It's likely plenty of incidents like this have occurred with lemonade stands, just with things like the common cold rather than polio. So, what have we learned today? Well, lemonade is old, but lemonade stands are traced back to lemonaders selling spiked lemonade from their backpacks, and lemonade stands may give you polio. Thanks for watching this one all the way through. My last video about the orange juice paradox kind of blew up for my channel, and I really enjoyed making it, so I made another. This time about something that's closer to my channel's namesake. I think I'm going to keep going with video essays for the time being and see what happens. This was really hard to find information for. Like, there is nothing about lemonade and lemonade stands on the internet. But I eventually found everything I needed. Wikipedia is super great for this sort of thing. And I like surfing Wikipedia anyway, so doing it for something useful is pretty nice. And, you know, these are fun curiosities to dive into, even if you're not interested in the topic initially. It's cool to learn something about something pointless. It's always fun. I don't know how to end this.